Hi. Well, firstly, can I just say that this is going to be a very unprofessional, lo-fi YouTube video, with just this type where some writer is talking to the camera. It's just going to be like that. But it's just to say, I should be feeling really happy right now because I've just sent off a book. I've just clicked send, and when I hear that splash, the splash sound that Macs make when you successfully send an email, it normally makes me happy if I've just sent off 80,000 words or whatever of a book. But this time I don't. I feel really scared, so I just wanted to do this really to get over my nerves and just to talk to someone. Also, the reason I think I'm feeling nervous about this book is it's the first book I've done that's non-fiction. For those that don't know, I've been writing a book about my own experience of panic disorder and depression. And it's basically taken me 15 years to get the courage, the guts, the sort of confidence, I suppose, needed to do it. But I've been always frightened about being naked, I suppose, psychologically naked and laid bare and all that crap. So I'm a little bit wondering what I've done, because now the moment I click send, I thought, I don't really know if I have the confidence for it to be published. I wrote it in private and now it becomes a public thing. So this is my first experiment at making it public. So hello. This is just between you and me, but I just wanted to read an excerpt because next year I will be having to read this stuff in public. And it's probably, you'll probably wonder why I'm so sort of like ashamed isn't the word, but so self-conscious about reading it. Well, partly that's because I am a self-conscious person, as this book will make clear, but also it is the most sort of painful 3 years of my life that I'm writing about here in my 20s. So it's hard for those reasons. So I'll read one of the sort of like key early bits in the book when I basically wanted to kill myself. I literally wanted to throw myself off a cliff when I was 24. So anyway, I'm rambling because I'm putting it off, but here we go. The first reading from Reasons to Stay Alive. The day I died. I can remember the day the old me died. It started with a thought. Something was going wrong. That was the start. Before I realised what it was. And then, a second or so later, my brain started to have something pumped into it from the inside. And then my heart started to go. And then I started to go. And it would be over a year before I would ever feel anything like even half normal again. Up until that point, I'd had no real understanding or awareness of depression, except that I knew my mum had suffered from it for a little while after I was born, and that my great-grandmother on my father's side had ended up committing suicide. So I suppose there had been a family history, but it hadn't been a history I'd thought about much. Anyway, I was 24 years old. I was living in Ibiza, in Spain, in one of the more sedate and beautiful corners of the island. It was September. Within a fortnight, I would have to return to London and reality. Over 6 years of student life and summer jobs, I had been putting off being an adult for as long as I could. And adulthood had loomed like a cloud that was now breaking and raining down on me. I stayed in bed for 3 days, but I didn't sleep. My girlfriend Andrea came in with water at regular intervals, or fruit, which I could hardly eat. The window was open to let fresh air in, but the air was still and hot. I can remember being stunned that I was still alive. I know that sounds melodramatic, but depression and panic only gives you melodramatic thoughts to play with. Anyway, there was no relief. I didn't want to be alive. I wanted to be dead. No, that's not quite right. I didn't want to be dead. I just didn't want to be alive. Death was something that scared me. And death only happens to people who have been living. There were infinitely more people who'd never been alive. I wanted to be one of those people. that old classic wish to never have been born, to have been one of the 300 million sperm that hadn't made it. What a gift it was to be normal. We're all walking on these unseen tightropes when really we could slip at any second and come face to face with all the existential horrors that lay only dormant in our minds. There was nothing much in this room. There was a bed with a white, patternless duvet, and there were white walls. There might have been a picture on the wall, but I don't think so. I certainly can't remember one. There was a book by the bed. I picked it up once and put it back down. I couldn't focus for as much as a second. There is no way I can express fully this experience in words because it was beyond words. Literally, I couldn't speak about it properly. Words seemed trivial next to this pain. And besides, I didn't have words like depression or panic disorder in my head. In my laughable naivety, I did not really think that what I was experiencing was an illness, something that other people had ever felt, because it was so alien to me. I thought it had to be alien to the species. Andrea, I'm scared, I said. It's okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But what's happening to me? I don't know, but it's going to be okay. On the third day, I left the room and I left the villa. And I went outside to kill myself. So, that's a very pessimistic and dark way to start. But my reasons for this, writing this, was not to depress people. It wasn't even to get pity. It wasn't to say, look how bad depression is. It was to be optimistic, because I very seriously did want to kill myself when I was 24, but I didn't. I'm still here, and thousands and thousands of people do kill themselves, and depression is a very serious illness and a serious fatal illness for that reason. But many, many, many more people who have suicidal thoughts and seriously want to kill themselves don't, and they live on, and very few of them wish they had done it. So I wrote this book just to see if I could have any impact. I mean, it's quite an arrogant thing to want to sort of like do something and change something with words, and it's probably a foolish, chaotic idea, but I'd written a blog and people had responded very well to it, and people who were very, very depressed had responded well to it. People who knew people who were very depressed said very, very nice and emotional and intense things, and I thought, yeah, this is a good thing. This is a good thing, talking about it, because mental illness is an illness still, unfortunately, surrounded by stigma. It's not really understood as an illness. It's understood as a personality trait, yet it is most definitely an illness. It's an illness like cancer or arthritis is an illness. And in the book here in front of me, I've got a list of why depression is hard to understand, and I say things like it's invisible. Depression is invisible. It's not feeling a bit sad. Again, depression is not an emotion. It is emotional, and it is a disease of thoughts, but it is not in itself an emotion that you can just sort of lift off and get on with your life and watch a bit of TV and forget about it. It's the wrong word as well. Depression is not how it feels. For me, depression, I think of like a flat tire, something punctured or unmoving, but so many of the times depression comes with anxiety, and anxiety is a very, very fast-moving thing. It speeds everything up. It's like adding cocaine to alcohol. It's just intense, and the depression I've known is more like an intense sort of inner hurricane, and that's how depression feels to me, and it sort of whisks you away and takes you to somewhere alien and scary. And even if your body and everything looks slow moving, what's going on in your head is very fast and confusing. But the other thing about depression is it is kind of like being an alcoholic, in that once you are depressive, you are that for life. Yet that does not have to be a terrible, terrible thing forever, for eternity. It does not have to brand you as a dark cloud person. I am now generally, a bit nervous now, but generally I consider myself quite a happy, confident person. Yeah, I always know it's there, but I actually think depression has made me a better person, and not only that, I think it has made me more capable of happiness, because I appreciate life more. I appreciate what it is to be sane. I appreciate everything that I used to take for granted about feeling normal and just being able to talk to friends and family. But I also believe that in making me more sensitive and making me thinner skinned and everything bad that can come from that, it actually makes me feel life more and feel the wonder and the spectacular nature of life, and to just even in my most recent bout of depression that I had about 3 years ago, I would just sort of leave the house on a night and step outside and look at the stars and the cosmos on a clear July evening, and just stand there and just sort of appreciate and feel deep into my nerve endings the sheer wonder of what it is to be alive. And that is kind of what I was trying to express in this book, which I'm scared about. Thank you.